Hey YouTube, what's going on? In today's video, this is part 8 by the way, and we are going to cover my logger class. So we are going to lay the foundation for debugging our application. So if there's one thing you should take away from this video is definitely you should know what your application is doing at all times. And so far we have not been good and we have not done that. So now, if you run whatever code we have created, we actually don't know what our app is doing unless we have some sysout prints in the methods. But sysout print is very basic and generic approach to debugging. It's not very good because in our logger here, we're actually going to be able to control what we want to output on the screen, and we will be able to turn it on or off whenever we want to. We'll have some additional information such as timestamps and like which classes our logs are getting called from. So let's do a let's go ahead and implement it, shall we? So the first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna go to Maven repository, and I am already on the page, but if you don't have it open, which you probably don't, so we're gonna go to log4j, we're gonna search for log4j, and the very first result over here is what we want. So we're gonna grab this from here, and then we're gonna go back to the project into our build.gradle file, and we're gonna paste this in here. You're gonna remove that, and just for readability, I'm actually gonna remove a bunch of this nonsense. Okay, now I'm gonna wait for Gradle to compile this. Alright, it finished, so let's go ahead and navigate to my logger class, and let's declare our logger. So it's gonna be public. Static is going to be accessible from any location in our framework, so that's why it's static. We don't want to declare a new interface to create some sort of logs. So we're going to say public static logger, and we're going to be using logger from org.apache log4j, and we're going to name it log. Say equal to logger get logger, and then we need to pass a class into here. So we're going to say my logger, which is my current class I'm in, mylogger.class. Okay, now theoretically we can start using it, but it's not ready yet. We need to create a configuration file for log4j to use to print something to us. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to go to our main folder, right? So source, main, and then resources. And inside resources, we're going to create a new file. We're going to call it log4j.properties. And I'm just going to copy and paste the properties from my old file. So basically here we do some declarations. We assign our std out, we assign our console and pattern layout, and here is where our actual pattern, so this is the stuff that actually matters, is down here. This is how you want your output to appear. So for example, this part over here is your timestamp, and the way I want to see it is I want to see month, day, year, and then hours, minutes, and seconds. And this is going to have this dashes for the date, and it's going to have this semicolons for the time. And then this is something you can change. Here I just use dash, but you can use like anything you want. You can use like a double semicolon or whatever. This %c means that I want to know which class this log was called from. Okay, which class this log was called from, and then this I want to know which method this log was called from as well. And this slash over here is just, you can make it anything. This is just something that some of the formatting that I prefer, but you can change it to anything. You can do like a double semicolon or whatever. I'm just going to leave it in a slash, and this part over here will tell you which log level is used. So if we have 5 log levels. We have like um, debug, we have info, we have warning, and so on. So this will tell you which level is used. And this is basically your message, okay? Your message, which will be logged um, when we use a logger. So let's go ahead and just run this and kind of test it. So if I'm going to go to my runner and my main class, we're going to test it out um, from this location. So I'm just going to say, I'm going to call my logger. I'm going to say log, and I want to log a debug level. So I'm going to say uh, test debug. Okay, and let's try to run this and see what happens. It actually shouldn't work. Okay, well, it seems like it worked, but we don't see anything, right? That's because we haven't enabled anything yet. So let's go ahead and enable our logger to actually outprint something. So we're going to say log dot set level, and then we're going to go into our levels, and we're going to say debug, because that's what we want to see, right? So we're outputting debug here, and we're going to test debug. So now we're going to run this and see what happens. Now it actually should say something. So okay, here we see our timestamp. We see that this log was called from our runner class and our main method, and it's using level debug, and this is our message, right? So awesome. Now let's take a look at some of the levels that we have in here, because we can also log like this, so we can log some errors. Let's say test error, and then let's test info, and then what else we can do? Info, we can do warning. Okay, warning. So now if you print, if we execute this, it should execute every single one of these lines. Okay, debug, error, info, and warning, and you can see the tag changes, right? So, but what happens if we enable output only for warning, level warning? What happens? We only see warning and some errors. We don't see debug, we don't see info. So those are not prioritized for this level. So that's how you can turn certain things off. What if you do info? Info doesn't print debug. So debug is like your lowest level. Debug you're going to be using in low level classes like we actually implemented over here. So if you want to have absolute know what your program is doing and when it's doing it, you want to put your debug logger into all of this classes and methods that we have here. So like UI object, the way you can do it, you can say my logger log debug, and you can say checking if um, object exists, something like this. Okay, and then you want to make sure that you don't enable though this this log when you're just running your program just regularly, right? You want to enable debug only when you're debugging it. So think about how you want to implement your logs in your classes, and we're actually going to do that together in our later video. And actually in the next video we're probably going to be using our logger quite a bit, because in the next video we're actually going to execute our some of the classes that we created to see if they work. And I just wanted you to show you guys how to use them properly. So because we have created a bunch of classes, but I haven't actually shown you how to use any one of them yet. So that's what we're gonna do in the next video. So I appreciate you guys for watching, and I hope you understand what we did here with the logger. It's a pretty short video. If there is a confusion or I didn't say something that you wanted to hear, please let me know and I will respond. And make sure to like the video, subscribe if you haven't, and take care, guys.